What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Craving Cowboys. As you know, it's your girl Mickey. It's a whole different setup tonight, you guys. Just got some different things going on this week. Before we jump too deep into the content, thank you for joining me, spending your Friday night here with me, Craving Cowboys, aka Mickey. Shout out to everybody joining me already. Jack Owens Filthy, what's going on, fam? How you doing? JBB boy, good to see you too as well. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. Kind of a different setup, so I want to make sure everything is good before I jump too deep into it. But yeah, like I said, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the share button. If you're listening out to me on Twitter /X, give me a like, give me a follow. Give me a retweet. Shout out to all my new subscribers within the past week. Shout out to Botch Lombardi, who sent the raid through me and Stars chat room last week during our weekly show. So like I said, shout out to everybody that's new, that's listening in. Speaking of that, apologize for not having me and Stars show this past week, Star Chasers, Girls Talk Ball. Unfortunately, I had a personal family emergency for this past week with one of my dogs. He just, I don't know, just came up with some bad symptoms this week. Kind of had, a medical emergency when I came home from work early this week. And there's no, my parents are out of town, so there's really no one else, who could really, keep an eye out for me. So but I really wanted to put out a video this week, first playoff week. And really just want to, get my thoughts out there. Like I said, been seeing everyone show. Shout out to all the content creators out there doing their thing this week. Getting me hyped, getting Cowboys Nation hype. And I'm really looking forward to, like I said, just doing my show right quick. Not gonna be too long. Like I said, so checking on my dog in a little bit. So like I said, just gonna jump right in. Like I said, sorry for not having the show this past week. I really wanted to jump on with Star because, as you know, we always really drop fire information on our shows. Of course, coming off the game last week against Washington, going against the Packers this week. It's Packers week, playoff football, playoff week, always a different atmosphere. And like I said, I just want to give my thoughts right quick. So, like I said, we're not gonna take too much of you guys' time. Like I said, hit the like and the share button. Jump right into my show. But as we know, it's playoff time. A crazy feeling. Crazy weekend is Friday. Playoff actually start tomorrow. With the Bills and Steelers, Texans and the Browns, I believe it is. So I'm definitely excited to see all playoff games this weekend. But of course, just even more excited to see our game. Let's just see how it's going to turn out. So like I said, as you guys know, full well know by now that Dallas Cowboys have the number 2 seed. Going to be facing off against the Green Bay Packers this weekend, and really just as you guys see, Carpe Omnia, the theme that kind of really just started off this season, through Mike McCarthy, and it's really, really just gone like a full circle moment at this point. It's really time for these guys to step up, really, come up face to face, with this game. I'm saying that, hopefully games, plural, going forward, but of course, it's week by week. We got to concentrate. The Cowboys have to concentrate on what's right in front of them. Of course, right now it's going to be the Packers. So it's really going to be up to these guys to really decide how they, step into this game this weekend. Of course, it goes to the mindset, the physicality. Of course, preparing like they have every other week in this game. They're trying to make it seem like, they're saying nothing's really changed. The routines are the same. These guys are, really just trying to maintain. Really, it's really about the mindset. How ready and willing these guys are. Really to step into this moment. These young guys have had, some reps this season, hopefully getting ready for this moment. And hopefully, they're even more ready now. They have the reps, they have the veterans around them. Let them know, just how important, this moment and these moments are, going to be going forward, once they actually, start to play the game and start to face these situations. And it's really going to be telling to see, what decisions, what comes up, what behaviors happen in these moments. Is it going to be like what 2021, I believe it was, when Mike McCarthy said, the guys were kind of nervous, going into the game, or is it going to be like 2022 where, it seems like it's going to be a good game? Unfortunately, we had Pollard go down, but is it going to be that situation where, we're presented with some kind of, where the Cowboys are presented with some kind of adversity, is Mike McCarthy going to maintain, correct play calling, or are the guys going to, or react, are they going to have a bad reaction, good reaction to, maybe a bad play, let's say interception happens, or, a turnover occurs. how is the defense going to come out and react to that? I mean, how is the offense going to come back? Are they going to come out striking first? Are we going to take the ball? Are we going to defer? Are these guys going to come out, firing on all cylinders? So it's really a matter of the mindset and how these guys have prepared, of course, in the past. How they react in the moment. And I just kind of want to come, with my couple thoughts for the season. How I think just some of the lessons that these guys have learned, not just from the coaches and staff and things like that, but also from each other. They spent from training camp and even before that, in the off season, these guys have spent all this time together, and now it's really gonna come down to how much they really know each other, how much not just off the field, but now it's gonna come down to on the field, how they're able to react to each other. What plays are going to occur? Are they going to be able to maintain that that important channel of communication, if you will? Not just communication amongst the offense, calling plays, but that be able to communicate with those on the line and also the receivers, but also the defense too. Is it going to come across as as a whole defense? Me and Star kind of talked about on our last show that it's different when different playmakers show up, or different guys show up, a sack here or a turnover there. But it's really more so about how these guys behave kind of as a unit. You know what I mean? Are they going to come in as a whole? Or are they going to, come in trying to play hero ball, or it's each, are they going to come in with an individual mindset, or are they going to come in with the mindset of being one unit and just being able to, hopefully make the game, turn their way and to just continue to really, just, like I said, really be able to play the game that's laid in front of them. So, excuse me, just some of the, like I said, I just kind of thought of 3 A's, just 3 A's that I thought that, kind of kept coming up throughout the season. And, really hearing some of the press conferences this past week. Of course, I like listening to Schottenheimer's press conference. Mike McCarthy has had several this week. And just one thing that kind of stood out to me, especially from Schottenheimer's press conference, is that he kind of talked about how, the guys kind of recognize each other in the locker room. They kind of bring the classroom, if you will, to the locker room at the same time. And I'm sure you guys can remember back when you were younger in high school, middle school. Kind of just like those interactive class activities. You know what I mean? Like you kind of, it's kind of like an excuse to kind of talk to your friends a little bit. You kind of joke around. You just kind of have that atmosphere. You just kind of like a chill atmosphere. And I just kind of like that they, kind of brought that kind of, laid back. You're trying to teach them, but at the same time, you're not trying to. It's not like a strict, teacher-student type of atmosphere. It's, all these guys are grown men. They know it's a game. They know it's a game of football. They know that communication about respecting each other's positions and things like that. So, it's not about about one position looking over another. Coaches to players. It's about them being able to kind of come to one, kind of stand on one accord. After them, they all kind of come to kind of a level playing field, if you will, amongst each other. They kind of these activities are, the players are they're actually able to recognize these other positions around them, the players around them, not just for hey, everybody peeping in. Okay, what's up, Nisi? How you doing? Good to see you, sis. Definitely glad you're here. Calvin Hicks, what's up? What's up, fam? How you doing? Definitely glad to see you. Thank you guys for joining me. I know it's Friday night. You guys get to do anything. I mean, literally, a holiday weekend. I'm saying, Friday night. So thank you guys for joining me. Not gonna be too long of a show. Like I said, just get my quick thoughts out there and just some of the things that I think that these guys can take from the season that they've learned, and really, I'm sure they already have been putting it forward, in these past, especially these past few weeks against these playoff teams. But it's really gonna, like I said, really come to a whole to see how they react in these actual playoff games, with these playoff consequences, as Mike McCarthy kind of spoke to earlier in the season. Yeah, like I said, my first A, if you will, my 3 A's is accountability. We kind of saw that early on in the season and really throughout the season. I just have a few examples here. Dak and Mike McCarthy taking ownership. For some miscommunication throughout the season. We saw, I think, a few weeks ago where they had, I think it was a play against I'm not sure if it was the Lions or Miami, where we seen Dak just kind of go off on a tangent. Wanted to make a big play to Brandon Cooks at the end of the game. And of course, they were questioned about it, a post game, about, kind of what happened. I think it was a second or third down play where we're supposed to be running the clock out, but for whatever reason, we're trying to get the ball to Brandon Cooks in the end zone. So, but of course, it turned to be an incomplete pass and the clock will stop. We know how the story goes. We saw Dak and Mike McCarthy both, take accountability for what happened. Saw Dak actually say that it was him, who wanted to make that kind of play happen. So, it starts with that. Of course, it starts with the quarterback. It starts with Dak, him, knowing in those moments, that sometimes you're not always going to be right. Yeah, he does have control, full control of the offense, but it's also a matter of knowing, when to, not necessarily having like not having to have a coach kind of hold you back, but kind of knowing, within yourself, you're the quarterback, knowing when, knowing on those type of plays when to, when to kind of hold back, not to really try to take the whole game into your hands. I'm saying? Some other examples, Tony Pollard, we saw in his press conference, I believe a few weeks ago, him admitting that, that he, hasn't really been having the greatest season, not saying the greatest season, because, as we know, he definitely reached, he reached the 1,000-yard mark this past game, which is great to see him reach. I think that's 2 to 3, 1,000-yard seasons in a row for him, which is great. But I saw Stanback. I thought the Isaiah Stanback on talking Cowboys. I saw him talking about it early this week that, granted he did earn 1,000 yards this season, but it was a very ugly, tough 1,000-yard season. I think he spoke about this in the post game. On the Cowboys post game show that this is different for Tony Pollard. He's used to having a compliment, and not saying he doesn't have any compliment this year with Lipke or Rico Dowdle, but him being in the driver's seat, so to speak, of that position. He's definitely had to take more of the toast, more of the carries up the middle that he wasn't necessarily used to. What I guess to say about 50 to 60% of the time. So his body had to get used to it. His mental as well. He had to, knowing that he was, running back one, and just seeing that, it may not have been the greatest season, maybe not in his eyes, maybe not in our eyes, but like I say, he reached, to be able to, number one, reach 1,000 yards. Not all running backs reach, those numbers, let alone 2 to 3 seasons in a row. And also, and just, kind of, I don't want to say make it light, but just kind of, looking on the positive side, TP did reach 1,000 yards. We see in the last, I think, couple of weeks, TP, just kind of really getting his feet back underneath him, really having strong runs. I tweeted out during the last game that I think that's the best I've seen Tony Pollard play against the Washington defense, because he's mentioned before that those games are always kind of like an ice bath game for him. As we know, Washington's defense is really tough even before and even after trading away their their defensive edges. They still have those guys in the middle, and we know Tony is running up the middle more now, more than before. So just seeing that that he's able to adjust, and also at the same time admit, if you will, that he's not especially happy with how the season went, but for him, like I said, be able to get his feet going, especially now going in the postseason. I think it's going to be very important, not only for his confidence, but we see the O-line kind of coming together as well. Of course, Dak is always hitting his stride, and hopefully we can get Pollard not just involved in the run game, but hopefully get him involved in the pass game as well. Like I really, we always love seeing TP really get busy, with those dump offs from the backfield. Even some of these tosses we saw in the Panthers game, I think we saw in the Rams game earlier this season, we saw last season too. But some of those tosses really really worked in Tony Pollard's favor. He had a touchdown run against the Panthers, in the red zone, off a toss play. So, like I said, seeing him kind of get back into a stride, this point in the season, very important to see. Lisa says, when watch sounds of the sidelines, I love how Mike was coaching Dak up, telling him where to throw due to the wind. Yeah, I saw that too, Nisi. Yeah, and I like, and like I said, I just like seeing, Dak and Mike's relationship, and I'm kind of going to touch on that just a little bit later in the show. But actually, I just go ahead, touch on that right quick, because it's not really a huge topic, but, that's been a topic of a discussion this week as well, the relationship between Dak and Mike. The Thursday evening meetings. Aaron Rodgers spoke about that last year, before we played the Green Bay again, or before we played the Packers again. But they spoke about their Thursday meetings and how instrumental they were in building their relationship. And we see just how vital it is, with the relationship with Mike McCarthy and Dak. We see them, on one accord. They're able to finish each other's sentences, if you will. Like Dak said, he's really able to know most times what McCarthy is going to call before, he even sends a call through. So just seeing that they're able to kind of get on a tangent with each other and really compliment each other mentally and I guess professionally, if you will. I'm not gonna say professionally, but just being able to compliment each other. I think it's definitely made the team stronger, and it's made the foundation the team is able to build up off of their relationship stronger, because not only the relationship between him and McCarthy, but also him and CD as well. So just seeing that, Dak just takes that leadership role, and not only with the team, but also with the coaching staff, building that relationship. We see Dak have that relationship with Al Harris as well. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure, these activities that they do, these kind of things that they do in the locker room, has a lot to do with that. Defense and they is able to communicate with the offense. They're able to, I think they called it across the hall, where they're able to, kind of critique each other of what they would do differently. And really, I think there's really just not just help them with on the field stuff, but it's off the field. Like I said, they spend a lot of time with each other. When you spend a lot of time with people that you care about, it naturally blossoms the relationship that you have, whether it is professional or personal. We see Dak talk about it in an interview that, hey, it's not just football. He said he said the conversation of football might even just be like 30 minutes of their entire time with each other, and the rest can be about, about family, about life. Dak said, he was talking to him about preparing for fatherhood, things like that. So it's, we see this relationship just being, really just, like I said, just really just being a vital part of this team's success so far this season. Bruce's Dr. Juice kind of snuck in here. What's up, fam? How you doing? Stephen White snuck in here. What's up, fam? Very good to see you. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Happy Friday to everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Let me see. Bruce says, I noticed that too. Mike coaching him about the win, and Dak being aggressive and taking the passing option. Yeah, I feel you. I saw that too. Yeah, Sounds of Silent was definitely, they were definitely focused too. Yeah, you can see them. You can see, once again, not just D-Law this time, but you can see the entire defense, cheering on, when the offense is on the field, because I do know, that was, and we saw him talk about on the sideline, Washington is like another home game for the Cowboys, and you guys could hear it. They really didn't have to say it. Like, I'm sorry, you guys, excuse me. But I'm sure you guys could hear it, when they were on the field. When Washington was on the field, you heard the crowd shouting, the crowd chanting defense, which is wild, to imagine, being in Washington's stadium, and you hear the crowd chanting defense. That has to do something, not just the crowd noise, but it has to do something to the players as well. Like, you would think, in the beginning of the season they were having sold out games, but now, the last game of the season against the Cowboys, less. You have I think they reported, 75, maybe 80% of the crowd being Cowboys fans. That can't really be, encouraging. Even, the players know they have a losing season. They know they're not really playing for anything. But I mean, I'm sure it still does something, mentally. And thank goodness, the Cowboys, of course, having the 2 seed go forward with home field advantage. And that's going to be huge for them going forward. Tyrone Church, what's up, fam? How you doing? He says Dak right now is second in MVP voting according to Vegas. And hopefully that holds true. We just seen the All-Pro AP All-Pro list come out. We've seen Dak, shout out to Dak and Micah making the second team All-Pro. We've seen CD make first team. I believe it was All-Pro. Yeah. Remember Washington was like, we want Dallas. Yeah, that's crazy. Hey, Philadelphia too. They were shouting the same thing, and even playing. I think they were playing the Giants one time. I don't know if it was this year, but yeah, playing different teams are out there shouting, we want Dallas. So they're definitely always. We're definitely Dallas Cowboys are definitely always on their mind somehow, some way. And even just my last point here, as far as accountability, defense was allowing late scoring drives. Early on in the season, not being able to stop the run early on, and we know that's kind of just being like a topic of conversation, with some of these games. Of course, after the Buffalo game, 200 plus yards, the defense allowing. You see in Miami, they did allow some rushing yards. They have, they're of course a dynamic team, but just seeing how these last few games kind of played out, the run defense does give us, some kind of confidence. But hopefully, especially, as we know, Aaron Jones, coming into the building, AJ Dillon coming into the building. I seen earlier on Twitter that they're saying he's doubtful as of right now, but it's still Friday, still a couple of days. I'm not exactly sure what injuries he's dealing with. I think I've seen that said he has a broken thumb and another injury, but I'm not 100% sure. And I don't want to call out, any kind of injury I'm not sure of. So, prayer, of course, prayers to them. Prayers for anybody going through any injuries. Right now, these guys lay their bodies on the line for this game. That's really why I always have total respect, for these guys playing this game, because, I'm saying, we all go through things as individuals, as people, when we're down bad or when we're hurt, say you get hurt on the job, or maybe you're not feeling well. You got to think these guys are playing, granted, 4 to 5 months out of the season, but these guys are playing a very physical job, seeing some of these injuries, over this past weekend, I'm, as me and Star kind of spoke of, last week, can't stand the Eagles, but seeing some of these type of injuries, like I didn't fully see it because I can't really take looking at injuries directly sometimes, but seeing like Jalen Hurts' finger, seeing AJ Brown take that kind of, late injury this late in the season, seeing other players, like I said, AJ Dillon being doubtful. I think they said Jair Alexander kind of went down kind of weird in practice, I think the other day. So they're saying like now he's coming up that he was kind of downloaded. I'm sorry, y'all, kind of downgraded to I think questionable. Like I said, still a couple days left, so this playoff atmosphere. So I'm sure these guys are going to see what they can do. Of course, coming up here Sunday, but it's like I said, players, these guys who are going through these things because with this type of game that they have to play, it's definitely not an everyday thing. Let me see. Okay, let me go ahead and okay. So the next A I want to talk about is adjustments. Kind of just building off accountability. Penalty was a huge thing we kind of talked about throughout the season, and even coming in late into the season, I think it wasn't necessarily the amount of penalties. That's one thing, of course, adjustments, that is a good thing. Penalties going down late in the season, but as penalties went down, it became more so the type of penalties they were getting, like sometimes a false start, sometimes a false start. Most of the time, we see with Tyler Smith with all the holding penalties. Or sometimes with the defense, early in the season we see offsides. Now kind of late in the season we were seeing roughing the passers. So of course some of those being kind of questionable, but we saw some of these kind of rough physical penalties, if you will. So like I said, just seeing I think the last 3 games, we saw under 6 penalties in the last 3 games. Against what's that, Miami. I think Buffalo, I think is with that last. I think Lions actually, the Lions game, Miami game, and the Washington game, and even as you guys see here against Washington, we only had 2 penalties, and I don't think the first penalty didn't even come into the third quarter. So it's good to see these guys are adjusting, especially in that manner. 2 penalties total, especially in a game where Washington is throwing everything they can at you. They're throwing 4th downs at you. They're throwing with tosses at the backfield. You see reverses. I'm saying things you don't normally see from Washington throughout the season. So for these guys to kind of remain disciplined in that manner, and granted, of course, halfway through the game, I'm not sure it was a game that much anymore, because we definitely scored ahead. I think 21-10 going into halftime. But just seeing these guys were able to maintain that discipline, especially at this point in the season. Hopefully, we'll be able to get 2 or less penalties going into this game coming up. And, just real quickly on the other side, Green Bay coming into this game, I'm not sure what their rank is as of right now, but I know in the midseason, I think they were ranked, I think that maybe the 2nd or 3rd highest penalized, third most penalized team in the league. So, they make mistakes, as everyone keeps, shouting, they're a really young team. So they're going to come with those, some of those mistakes too as well. And I do, we're the second youngest team, so I guess it's no surprise that they were. I think mid-season they were the third highest penalized team, and we were I think the first highest penalized team. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a lot of flags Sunday. Hopefully not, because that would just make for a long game. And also for just a game that's not, that breaks up the rhythm, what I'm saying? Not just for, I'm not complaining as a fan watching it, but it breaks up the rhythm with, the players on the field, what I'm saying? They kind of want to get a rhythm going. They kind of want to get, if they want to play tempo or something like that, that is definitely something. And that's something we kind of, we see people speak about, throughout the season. Shout out to Big Game James. I saw him tweet that out, one time. Of course, I don't know which game it was, but I saw him tweet out one time saying like, hey, like, you see our players, going out there making big plays, but during that stretch of time, it kind of sucks because you were kind of looking to see there was going to be a flag on the play, because it's like you can't get excited yet because you're not sure what's going to happen in the next 5-10 seconds of, if the refs are going to do it like that. You know what I mean? So let's just hope we see, something different. Of course, going into this game, like I said, less penalties. Another adjustment made throughout the season, Mike McCarthy use of Cooks early on. He was kind of being, criticized for, how he was kind of getting the ball distributed, amongst, our playmakers. We saw that change up. We saw Cooks kind of get his input in there as well. CD, giving his input to some of the coaches. and just them being just acceptive to that, them not shying away from getting feedback from the players and actually using that within, not just saying, okay, well, we'll see next game, or we'll see down the line. Like we was they would get their feedback in those games, and we would see them making those adjustments right away, or if not soon, you know what I mean? So it's good to see this coaching staff just being able to, like I said, just not being afraid to listen to your players. You know what I'm saying? It's good to see that they're not afraid to admit when they're wrong, and also to build upon, not, I'm not saying what they were wrong on, but just using all lanes of how you say. So you just going through all possibilities. Shout out to Law always saying not leaving no stone unturned. I mean, like not being afraid to go down some of those alleys. Go down. Kind of got maybe trying out new things. We see more and more CD coming out the backfield on some reverses. We see Turpin being used in the backfield as well. We're seeing Turpin get some kind of snaps on offense, which is completely different than what we saw last year. You know what I mean? So it's good to see that this offense, can really use the different playmakers that we have, and that them not being afraid to do that. Also, another point of adjustment, DQ, and his use of personnel and his use of coverage. We didn't see Wanya Thomas in games early in the season. We didn't see Dante Fowler and Sam Williams getting snaps in the first quarter. You know what I'm saying? Like me and Star talked about that last week. Seeing Fowler out there early was like, wow, like it's crazy, like seeing him. And we know he has an effect on the game as it is. So just seeing that he's able to, and that kind of follows with the use of Micah off ball, or him being Mike linebacker. It just kind of sometimes things just make sense. You know what I mean? Like you don't, you may not, or they say you may not believe until you see it, but it's kind of like a domino effect. We didn't want to see Evans go, but now seeing Micah being put to use at off-ball linebacker, we're able to see those edges be able to come in and have more effect on the game. And just my final A would be acknowledgement or / appreciation. And I want to bring up this clip, instead of me having to explain it, just quickly having Brian Schottenheimer. I don't know if you guys listened to his press conference this week, but just him kind of explaining of what, some of the play, how they, kind of came up with this idea of players recognizing players, and then acknowledging them, in these kind of moments. So I'm just going to bring this up quickly for you guys. Just give me 1 second. Like I said, if you guys are listening, hit the share button. Give me a like. Give me a retweet on Twitter if you're listening. Bring this up for you guys just really quickly. Just a quick little, I think it should be about maybe like 30 seconds, maybe about a minute or so. Like I said, I love listening to Schottenheimer's press conference, because he just always always just drops gems. I mean, as we already know, but just he just seems very in tune with the players. Very in tune with the coaching staff with Mike McCarthy, and like I said, just from the time they've all spent together, you could just see that it's genuine. It's something different. And it's just crazy because last year I never really, before I played the clip, I never really even really watched Kellen Moore's press conferences like that. I'm not saying that they weren't important, because every now and then he did talk about things, but I just was never really interested. You know what I mean? So it's really different, and even now, I wasn't really I would just really listen to Mike McCarthy's press conferences. I didn't really listen to DQ's a lot, but listening to his a lot more this year too kind of gets me more in tune with what some of these coaches are thinking, how their relationships are actually built with the time that they do spend with each other. So yeah, like I said, I just want to play this clip right quick. Like I said, how Schottenheimer said they came up with these ideas of how to get the guys more involved when they are in the film room, and with film study, and just recognizing other players who kind of are instrumental in the way they play the game. And like I said, just the question that he's asked and that he answers is David Moore. Shout out to David Moore, one of the beat writers for Dallas Cowboys. He asks him, despite the kind of just paraphrasing my own words, despite the fact that CD early in the season asked for the ball early on, wants to be more involved in the offense, how do they keep the other wide receivers open and ready, and really just ready to get the ball? And when they do get the ball, how are they still able to be successful on the field? So let me just go ahead and I'll play this for you guys.
I speak about the culture in here all the time. These guys truly love and they care about one another, and I think you can see it when we score touchdowns. It doesn't matter who it is. the excitement, the enthusiasm. Guys can't get down there fast enough to celebrate. And one of the cool things that we started doing is we started this year. When we score a touchdown, we keep the ball. We've burned through quite a bit of balls, so now we grab a new ball. But like I think I've shared with you guys, we bring those guys up on Friday, the guys that scored the touchdown, and then we have them pick someone that helped them get there. And they sign the football, both of them. We put the ball in like basically a safe place where we can see it. And it's really been cool to see the coaches that have been brought up there, the linemen that have been brought up there. And it's just different. Like, CD might pick Mike Solari one time, and Brandon Cooks might pick Will Harriger one time. And I think, again, it speaks to the special group that we have. It takes all 11 of us on the field, but even more, everybody's involved in getting us in the end zone and getting the ball distributed and all that stuff. And so there's a selflessness about this group. And more importantly than that, there's a special bond between, not just the players, but the coaches and the players as well. And it's a true brotherhood. It's true love, and it's real. And I can honestly say 23 plus years in the league, I don't think I've ever been in a situation where it's that strong and tangible.
Yeah, so as you guys just heard, like Schottenheimer said, like them doing this activity weekly, like and like I think they said it kind of started with Dan Quinn with the defense, excuse me, and just just kind of recognizing the other players in the room, just letting the other guys know that they see them, that they recognize that they are a part of what goes on, not just off the field when they talk to each other in the locker room, things like that, but on the field as well. And as I have here, they make the film sessions more interactive, like I mentioned earlier, with the classroom atmosphere. Kind of gets the guys more involved. They kind of learn more about these positions that they may not have. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. They learn more about these positions that they may not have known. Not really. I'm not saying that they didn't know about. These guys play football. It's obvious. But I'm saying they, like early on in the season, they would, of course, guys are bringing up Dak Prescott a lot because he's a quarterback, or he may be the obvious choice. But as time went on, Schottenheimer mentioned further in this press conference, if you guys go back and listen to the whole thing. But yeah, they also encourage them to pick different players as they go on, through the season. So you're not always just picking Dak. So you're not always just, say if you're a TP, you're not always picking, the same lineman who picks up that block for you. The TP mentioned that there were times where he picked Hunter Lipke, where he picked up a block for him. He picked Tyler Biadasz. We saw earlier in the season, Tyler Biadasz, pick up, I'm not sure this is what he thanked him for, but, we saw Biadasz, pick up a fumble that Tony, I'm sure, didn't mean to fumble, but that was instrumental, at those moments. So just seeing that these guys recognize, even I think a couple of weeks ago, I think they said, or I think it was the Washington home game, I think mentioned in the article by John Machota. Shout out to John Machota. He writes for The Athletic. In one of his articles, he mentioned that that I think in the Washington game that Brandon Cooks actually thanked one of their quality control coaches. I forget his name right now, top of my head. Let me see if I can bring it up. I forget his name right. I think his name is Will Harligus or something like that. Where Brandon Cooks thanked him because he's the one who draws up the plays for the team, right? So let me bring this, because it's actually an article. I want to make sure I quote it right for you guys. Okay. Yeah, and actually, the article is actually written by Saad Youssef. Shout out to Saad Youssef as well. He's one of the reporters that are usually in there during the press conferences when they are in there asking questions. I'm trying to bring up this section where he talks about Brandon Cooks and who the coach's name is. I want to make sure I get it right. Yeah, Will Harriger, and so he's the offensive assistant / quality control coach. They said he was summoned to the front of the room by Cooks following the Cowboys' home game. Their win against their home game against Washington, for Thanksgiving when they won. And let me see. Schottenheimer says Will had a really cool design for a play that he was really pushing for. It was a little double move that Brandon caught a touchdown on. Those two had been talking about some of those things. I know it caught me by surprise that he did it, but Will was just blown away. Here's a guy that works incredibly hard. He's here later than almost anybody, just trying to come up with ideas and plays and draws all the passes and all that stuff. For Brandon to recognize Will, everyone calls him ball game. It just shows you each and every person in that room has value and tremendous value. We're all a part of our success. So just seeing that, these guys really have no problem, I'm saying, even down to the coaches, recognizing the coaches that help them, you know, really implement these plays that they may not have thought of otherwise yet. Like, yeah, these guys are on the field. They're lined up across from these cornerbacks, for the wide receivers. They're lined up against this other team, but these coaches, that's why they're here, right? That's why they were brought in by Mike McCarthy. That's why they were brought in. That's why Schottenheimer was elevated to OC, by McCarthy. That's why McCarthy brought in his stat team, because he, they don't have time to be thinking about these other, not saying they don't have time for it, but everyone is allotted a job, just like the guys on the field. If they do their job, they're successful. If the offensive coordinators and the coaches, off the field do their job as well, shout out to Will Herringer. If he doesn't do his job, that play is probably not successful. I'm saying, maybe another coach may not have written up that play for him, but just knowing that him and Cooks were able to work together to create that kind of play, and we've seen, Cooks on several, touchdown passes coming from Dak Prescott, and just seeing that, and we see him kind of, I think it's the left side of the end zone, and every now and then it's the right, but I think it's about 2 or 3 of touchdown passes that Dak is able to hit Cooks on. Saying that has seen it, come up at least once a week or, once every other week. So just seeing that, one play that may have been drawn up, maybe on a whim, you never know where these plays are drawn up from, but just seeing that how they can be implemental, and it's the success of this team. And we see, hell, we even seen that. I think I seen the stat out there that said if Brandon Cooks has, I think I seen the tweet that said if Brandon Cooks has 20 plus yards, that the Cowboys, I think 5-0 or 6-0. And even Brandon Cooks says, well, they're going through the season. Like, he doesn't know things like that. But when you have those stat people, when you have those, when they know these, little intricacies, these little intricate details that, may not seem like they're important at the time, but, like Brandon Cooks said, like, hey, if it matters that much, yeah, let's give me a 20 plus, pass play to go ahead and get us that win. You know what I'm saying? Because if it's that implemental, in the team's success, why not? And that's one thing that you see with this team. Like, they're all on the same page this year. They just all the same, from the coaching staff to the players in the front office, they're all really, focused on winning this year. Everyone is really just taking, like I said, one of the A's, accountability. Everyone is really just willing to do their part and step up and really do their job. You know what I'm saying? If you will literally do their job. And it's like the working parts to a machine. If you have, different parts that you put together to create something, and it works, each individual part may not work separately. You know what I mean? Like, say you take apart an alarm clock or something like that. You take apart a computer or something like that. You have all these different pieces. You got the, you have the modem, you have things like that, or you have the battery to the alarm clock or whatever. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you put together that alarm clock, you put together, say, that computer, but without that modem, it's not going to work. Without that battery for that clock, it's not going to work. You know what I mean? So, these pieces, the pieces to these puzzles they're trying to figure out, especially going into the postseason, like, they're going to be very, very important. These guys got to, just maintain what they're doing, keep, remind themselves of what their job is, and really how to implement and how to go forward and really to do their job to the best of their ability, not worrying about someone else's job. You know what I'm saying? Dak shouldn't be worried about CD's job. You know what I mean? Hunter Lipke shouldn't be worried about even Tony Pollard's job. You know what I mean? Gallup shouldn't be worried about CD's job. You know what I mean? They can be within the same room, but these guys go out, say they have different roles. You know what I mean? And we talked about that, in previous years, you hear within Cowboy Nation, role players and star players and things like that. When we did have Kellen Moore, shout out to Nisi, talking about how Kellen Moore, of course he wouldn't have drawn up that kind of play, for Cooks. He probably wouldn't have even thought of Cooks, him being in the offense. And I'm so sorry, Lamar, shout out to you being in the building. Thank you so much for being here, fam. I'm really just, kind of talking right now. I saw you slip in, fam. Definitely good to see you. Definitely good to see you. One of my mains. Definitely good to see you in the building. But yeah. Kellen, yeah, he was definitely, more so about his offense. So just like I said, just, and Kellen May, I thought he was doing his job, drawing up the plays for his offense, but he wasn't fully doing his job, quote unquote, because he wasn't involving all the parts of the offense. You know what I mean? So even if everyone thinks they may be doing their job, but if you're not doing your job properly, the finished product, still isn't going to work. So let me just go ahead and, like I said, move forward with my show. I think this, like me and Star kind of talked about on our show this past week, this is kind of like a catalyst game, for our young players. The young players kind of start off early in the year, and it was kind of a full circle moment, if you will, for some of them. We see our O line kind of step up again. We saw them, have to kind of step up in, I think, the Arizona game, and even the first 2 games of the season. Tyler Smith was out with some injuries, I believe, from training camp. Tyron Smith, I think, was battling things as well. So just seeing that TJ Bass, could step up, in a moment. Brock Hoffman, I think he played in the Arizona game. I'm not 100% sure, but just seeing Hoffman step up, and we saw him, as I think Dak called him big time Brock or something like that. Just seeing him being, put his violence up out there. You know what I'm saying? Getting the game going. It's good to see that, especially from your O line. Because that was just some of the questions we had, in previous weeks of whether our O line could play physical or not. Whether they could, really exert some energy out there, and just seeing that he was going out there really, really, if you will, balls to the wall. You know what I mean? Because some of these young guys don't see the field throughout the year, or they may not get the opportunity that they think they, that they, or even if they don't get the amount of stuff that they really think that they want, for these guys to say, okay, in this moment at the very last second, literally, because I think it was even Mike McCarthy said he didn't find out about Zach being sick until they got to the stadium. So just seeing these guys being able to step up, at the last minute, what I'm saying, just shows their commitment to the team. What I'm saying, as you heard Schottenheimer say, that the brotherhood, just them, just ready and willing to really just do what's necessary, and to do it well. And not just say, okay, I'm playing this role, let me just do it any old way. Like they recognize the importance of these games, especially going down the stretch. And I'm speaking of that, like I said, just kind of being like a catalyst for some of these young plays. I just want to bring up this tweet. I seen it was tweeted out by Dominic White. Shout out to him. I just thought I thought it was an excellent point. Let me share this for you guys right quickly. No, it's all good, Lamar. Yeah, hey, look, just for you being in the building, fam, I really appreciate you. It's all good. Anytime you can jump on, it's all good with me. Yeah, I just want to let me share this tweet with you guys. I thought, like I said, it's not just these players listed on this tweet. It just kind of gets across a point that I wanted to bring up. Yes, as you guys can see, Brandon Aubrey in the tweet. But also just kind of reads here, like I said, multiple young Cowboys players that needed a confidence booster actually got one before the playoffs started. I don't know if you guys, it's kind of small, but I don't want to mess up the page. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, there you go, just slightly. Hopefully it don't bounce back. But yeah, wide receiver Jalen Tolbert with a target of 2 successful fake punts the last month. He was able to shake it off. He scored a touchdown. Peyton Hendershot, we saw him with a block punt and him have a hurdle in the game. Like seeing that, especially just kind of a side note with Hendershot, because I was definitely hard on Hendershot. Starting the season, going into training camp, and really starting in preseason. Kind of going into the season. Not like I said, I was one of the people kind of hard, on Hendershot. Saying he needed to show more, saying he needs to, we had those drops, of course last year, coming into this year, they kind of continue in the training camp, and even you can't help injuries, period. And I'm not blaming him for that, but him not being able to get on the field, that was, especially seeing the kind of guy we have, and hopefully we'll see him back next year, John Stevens Jr. Definitely wanted to see him kind of get busy, of course this season, but hopefully we'll see him next year. But like I mentioned, like this Hendershot being able to kind of step up, and we even shout out the sounds of the sideline. We saw him mention there that he needed that. He needed that confidence boost. Like, and everyone, not saying everyone knew it, but everyone knows what a big play can do for your confidence. And we saw that right after it happened. Like right after that, he was hyped up. He was ready to go. He was hyping up Rico. I'm saying, I think on the follow, they were right there when he made the block punt, so Rico was able to pick up that the pass pro, so that Dak could throw that touchdown. And speaking of Rico, we had a huge red zone goal line blitz pickup, like I said. Actually, listen here. I actually didn't read it before, actually saying that, but yes, and seeing Enrico actually had a couple, not more than a couple, but we seen Mike McCarthy go back to him, on the pass play that didn't necessarily work out the first time we seen, but to see McCarthy go back to him and that it was successful, very successful. That was great to see. We loved. I think Rico had a touchdown off of a screen, screen pass the last couple of weeks. I think so. Just seeing, his constant, involvement in the run game. We're definitely going to need that coming into this game this week. Like I said, it's great to see our boys, just, well, good to see our boys execute on the field, but also great to see McCarthy, actually, put forth, some great play calling to get our guys involved. Other guys, other young players, Brandon Aubrey, he's able to get that 50-yarder before the game ended. Granted, he missed those other field goal attempts, one missed, one blocked. But just being able to make that 50 plus yard, I'm sure, he went out with some confidence. We saw Mike McCarthy, kind of give the, let's go fist, that kind of made him feel a little better. I'm sure, it made everyone feel, not so stressed out, especially going into the postseason, what we experienced last year with Brett Maher and things like that. And of course, lastly, Sam Williams, he got a sack, a tackle for loss. He got some pressures. And as I mentioned earlier, he's not a younger guy, but Fowler, being on the other side of that, that creates something. That's a feeling for these guys. Being able to be able to go into the postseason, just having that confidence builder, it's huge for them right now. And as I mentioned, with the O line stepping up, in this past game against Washington, no sacks, 6 pressures out of 36 pass attempts. Like that's wild. I'm saying we've seen it in other games this year. No knock on Steele, or any other, or even be honest. We've seen guys throughout this year, allow 7 to 8 pressures on Dak alone. You know what I mean? So just seeing that they allowed 6 total pressures out of 36 pass attempts, that's huge. I don't even think, I don't know, like I said, I don't know if we've even seen that from our starting 5 O line. So just seeing that these young guys can step up, shout out to Brock Hoffman and TJ Bass, just really being the, one of the difference makers in this past game. So really, just really catapult, this team's confidence, especially being at home and saying getting these two potential home games. I'm saying the playoffs is, it's amazing. Sorry, y'all. Just checking on my dog right quick. Like I said, he's doing much better now. Just want to make sure he's still doing okay over there. You see, and like I'm not gonna talk too much, about the Packers. Like I said, I like, talking about my Cowboys, but it's Packers week, playoff week. I just want to, just kind of, like I said, don't want to hold you guys too long. I know it's Friday night, but just gonna, to touch quickly on, some of these matchups, or just some things, that we're going to keep an eye out for this team. I'm sure you guys have heard it through this week that, like I said, like I mentioned before earlier in the game, in the show, that they're a young team, that they take a lot of chances. Just watching some of their games back, I watched the Lions game back. I watched a little bit of when they played the Chiefs as well, just to see how they were doing. I know the Chiefs aren't, quote unquote, the Chiefs, all the way this year, but just, like I said, just definitely wanted to see how they kind of came out in the game, how they started off. They definitely started aggressive. It's definitely something I see that's a common denominator with most of their games. So they definitely come out aggressive. They're not afraid to throw the ball early and often, which is how I want the Cowboys to start. How we kind of start off against Washington, in their home game. I want to see, that's kind of how Green Bay kind of starts their games. They come out, not afraid to, like I said, not afraid to find those big plays early and often. Their O-line, attributes a lot to that. As you guys can see here, their O-line is only allowed, 1.8 sacks, an average of 1.8 sacks per game. 3 sacks allowed in the last 3 games. We just talked about our O-line not allowing any sacks in this past game, but we've seen games where, Dak, takes a lot of hits, where he has some sacks. Dak does have some 3-sack games, some 4-sack games, unfortunately. So that's that's definitely telling of their O line. I don't know how old or young their O line is, but that's that's damn good. What I'm saying? We definitely can't hate on that. I'm sure that attributes to their to their well run run game. Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon. And helping it with the protection of Love as well, and how he's able to get some of those big passes out. You know what I'm saying? And one thing this is kind of just I kind of had that he's not necessarily a scrambler. His pass completion. I'm sorry, y'all, my bad. His pass completion is 31st in the league when he's scrambling. But this is I put scrambling in quotes because this is actually something that I learned listening to Okoye and Skywalker Steele listen to their show the other morning this past week. I'm saying that because this is something I thought Jordan Love was a young mobile quarterback who likes to use his legs, who likes to run all over the backfield, and who and able to make these big plays. And not saying he doesn't, but something that I kind of heard when they were talking is that he's not necessarily a scrambler. And it's something I think this is what Okoye was saying, that he's not necessarily a scrambler, but he kind of moves around in the pocket, but to make these plays so that the receivers can have time for these plays to develop. They're able to run these long routes. They're able to run these deep routes to where he's able to get the ball out to them. And like I said, we see a lot of deep shots. The O line definitely steps up for him. So that's something that the D line has to take into account. I'm saying they don't allow a lot of sacks, but I'm not necessarily sure how many pressures they allow. But that could be something that that they take into account. I'm saying maybe DQ can. I mean, we definitely see Parsons and Lawrence lined up on the outside. Being able to place pressure on their tackles. I think I don't know if their tackle or their guard. I think the left tackle or left guard as of right now I think is questionable still to play in the game. So if their backup tackle is in there or guard, like I said, whichever position, I'm sure we can try to attack that position. Kind of I saw a couple of their linemen being walked back into the quarterback a few times. I think it was the Chiefs game I was watching, but granted, the Chiefs game was mid-season. I kind of bounced around, kind of watching their game. So, not saying that who they are right here right now, but it's just saying that it's a possibility. The D line is going to have to come strong regardless. But like I said, they don't allow many sacks for the quarterback. So, their O line success is indicative of the quarterback success. I'm saying? We definitely can't ignore that. So, I mean, we saw, I don't know if you guys saw D-Law's interview, but like you said, these guys are gotta come correct and, take care of these guys, hopefully, in the backfield, not allowing, too many games, not allowing Aaron Jones to make those big, excuse me, have those big bursts of plays. I'm saying? Like Green Bay allows, 10 plus yard run plays, which should work in our advantage. But I'm saying it's definitely vice versa, the other way around. So we're definitely going to be able to handle, Aaron Jones. I'm saying that's going to be on the next slide. I don't want to touch too much on it, but I'm just kind of switching over to the defense quickly. They don't necessarily always play man coverage, but they do play a lot of single high. But they're I was listening to Isaiah Stanback on one of the episodes of Talking Cowboys, and he was saying that he doesn't necessarily think they play anything special. They don't do too many crazy stunts or anything like that, or lining up to trick you or do crazy movements in the backfield to try to throw the quarterback off. They just kind of line up and kind of just play the game. And just kind of watching some of their players, I did notice I think it's number 7 Quay Walker. He can tackle. He doesn't mind coming up to tackle. I'm saying he can, he definitely likes to go up against the running back. They like, they like to play ISO so that they can take advantage of some of their matchups. The same with Quay Walker, like I said, the linebackers definitely, line up to play. They're definitely not afraid to get in that backfield. And I'm saying their front line. I think his name is let me see. Okay, move forward. Let me see. Actually, no, it's not on that side. I think his name was Rashawn Gary. I think it is. I don't know. I might not have it on the slide actually. I thought I put it in the show, but I might not have. But but they're saying Rashawn Gary. He has I think 8 or 9 sacks on the year, so he definitely leads. I think they say he leads the team. I'm saying they're the ninth in pass rush. Excuse me, y'all. But as I mentioned earlier, they allow the most 10 plus rush yards in the league. So it's I think, like I said, we'll be able to take advantage of that. But it's something we have to keep an eye on because we'll be able to throw on them. I mean, they're saying that Dak will be able to throw on them because even last year, CD got busy. In the past game, he had 150 yards, I believe, on 11 receptions. So we know C is going to turn up. We know Cooks, I'm sure, is can turn up. I'm saying they have a just something I kind of noticed at some of their games. I think it's number 37, Valentine. He definitely. Not saying he not to single him out. I'm saying? Like I said, I haven't watched a ton of their games, but just kind of just what I've seen from their cornerbacks. And like I said, nothing special, but of course, like I mentioned, Zaire Alexander. Not sure if he's going to play, but he's definitely their best cornerback. So just seeing that, and he doesn't play, like I don't know who's going to be, following, or I don't know if he follows CD in the first place, but it's going to be a wonder who's gonna take on CD Lamb if Jair Alexander doesn't play. Hey, what's up, fam? How you doing? Definitely good to see you. What's up? What's up? How you doing? Yeah, like I was saying, actually, let me move to the next slide. Yeah, speaking of Aaron Jones from earlier, definitely one of the biggest things for this game is going to be able to stop the run, as I mentioned earlier with Aaron Jones. I think I think the last 2 or 3 games, the last time we matched up against them and Aaron Jones played, he averaged 125 yards against us, which is crazy. So we saw that last year. I think they said we've seen that in 2019. He averaged. I think he averages also 3 touchdowns, against us as well. So definitely a huge factor. Definitely, I would even go as far as to say their X factor that we're going to have to, shut down. Like I said, as of right now, with Dylan now being downgraded to doubtful, I'm saying is I don't know who the number 3 running back is, but I think the number 3 running back might be James. I think I heard it's James Robinson. If I'm not mistaken, he used to be on the Jags, but I gotta check onto that. But I was kind of listening to their game at the moment. I wasn't actually looking at the screen, but I think I heard that James Robinson is their third running back. But that actually be pretty crazy. And actually, let me see. Speaking of, let me see. That's why I'm talking about it. But yeah, like he's definitely going to be something you got to keep your eye on with Aaron Jones because, and I don't know if you guys saw his interview with Kate Adams on her show. Just seeing him being from Texas, coming back home, of course, trying to turn up against the Cowboys as he usually does. That's not to knock him for if you get those kind of numbers against us, what I'm saying, that's definitely saying something. Like I said, it's not a knock against them, but it's definitely something we're gonna have to keep our eye on because as we saw in the Buffalo game, like us getting ran on like that isn't fun to watch. I'm saying those, it definitely. I mean, we're just fans watching the game. I'm saying so it's definitely a huge point when I'm sure the team feels away if you're seeing having these huge like I mentioned with Green Bay allowing a lot of 10+ yards being ran on them. I'm sure it does something to the team's psyche when it's like you absolutely can't stop the play on the other side. So I think, like I said, it's going to be huge in whether or not they're able to stop Aaron Jones. They'd be able to limit him to even limit him to 100 yards would be a big deal. I'm saying, like, I think the last game we had where the run defense was able to hold the opposing teams to 100 yards was I think Seattle Seahawks, and they allowed 73 yards in that game. So what I'm saying it's like I said, definitely going to be a challenge. I'll say that because Aaron Jones, is who he is. He's a great player. I'm saying and I just kind of listed some players who've been doing really well, in run defense this year. D-Law, of course, he's number one, of course. I'm saying he makes those huge plays. He's able to get those, kind of knife through the defense. Kind of knife through the offensive line, and really able to stop some of those runs, in the backfield. It's huge as he, as I think one of the reports asked him how he plans to stop Aaron Jones. And, he just plain and simple said hit him. I'm saying, and hey man, ain't no better answer than that. You feel me? I'm saying, and shot. Parsons, of course, coming along. When he's playing off-ball linebacker, like Mike linebacker, we've seen him, start the games off early, having an impact, on the run game. So just seeing him just being able to, make a difference, as guy, we've been, screaming to have Mike, kind of play the off-ball linebacker role. So just seeing that it's actually having an impact, it's definitely good to see. Another guy, Jay Lou, and actually I learned this today. That Jordan Lewis is actually the second highest rated cornerback in the league in run defense, and Deron Bland is actually ranked fourth in the league for run defense, which I didn't know. What I'm saying, like, not saying I don't be paying attention, but I'm looking at the D line. I'm looking at these linebackers, to see the difference that they kind of make in the run defense. So seeing that Jay Lou, like we saw Jay Lou have turnovers in the last couple of weeks. That we saw Jay Lou, even though it was a loss, we saw Jay Lou turn up against the 49ers. Able to stop McCaffrey at the goal line. I'm saying, being able to, I think it was Kittle he was defending. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was a play. If not Kittle, then it might have been McCaffrey again on a pass that he was able to defend against him. So just seeing Jay Lou, I mean, we not saying we recognize him, only last week, but he's been having a great year, really low key. But now, kind of high key because, like I say, like this past couple of weeks, he's been having turnovers. So it's great to see that from him. And like I said, Deron Blaine as well. You know, we're going to need all hands on deck really for the run defense, but really just the defense as a whole. And also I just want to mention Damone Clark as well. Like he can be pivotal when he's playing close to the line of scrimmage. Like you know, he's always kind of just been like a he really just kind of had like a nose for the ball. We saw it last year, you know, in the Vikings game when he really started getting his feet underneath him. You know, he only played half a year last year, but just seeing, you know, and even this year, you know, he had a great game against Washington when we played them at home, and even this past week playing them at Washington, we saw him turn up. We saw him in the area, you know, in the area of tackles. We saw him, you know, just really just, you know, really just, you know, showing just really showing better mental prowess, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Really showing that he's, you know, willing to willing to learn, willing to adjust, and you know, now, you know, willing to step up and make those tackles, willing to, you know, pay attention and really, you know, I heard the term. I think do girls talk. You know, learning your gap fits. You know what I'm saying? Not being, you know, not overestimating. You know what I'm saying? And actually, you know, not guessing at what's coming next. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to see that he's kind of getting more into his game flow a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And we definitely want to see that going forward. Yeah, Eastside Hero, what's up, fam? How you doing? How do I know you be in the building, fam? What's up? What's up? Yeah, yeah. Hey, shout, yeah. You know, I don't think I seen you, you know, in our last show with Star. So yeah, shout out to the Texans. You know what I'm saying? They in the playoffs, they really are, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, you know, we care or anything like that. But shout out to the Texans, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they are playing good ball, you know what I'm saying? We can't hate on that. They are playing the Browns. I don't know if y'all gonna win, you know what I'm saying? That's definitely gonna be a good game. I definitely be in tune for that. But I'm gonna keep it real with you, East Side. I think I don't know if y'all gonna get beat, you know, bad or real bad. I do think the Browns are going to beat y'all because their defense. I don't know if the Texans have faced a defense. Well, actually, I think y'all might have faced the Browns early this year, but I don't know if y'all had Stroud though. So I mean, we'll see. You know, we'll see if it's a different game or if it's the same game. But we'll see if Stroud really is the difference. You know what I mean? But yeah, that I'm sure the defense is going to be ready. The Browns defense, so it's going to be a good game. You know, and hey, Stroud actually reminds me a little bit of Love a little bit. And kind of they play well. It could be scheme, it could be the play calling. So it might not be even the quarterbacks that are alike, but. You know, we saw the Texans come out on the first play. I think they scored a touchdown in the last game. You know, the first play of the first drive, they came out, you know, just threw a bomb downfield and it was a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, that's something that you gotta keep an eye out for the Packers. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? If we keeping it real, you know what I mean? So yeah, like, you know, not shout out to you, East Side, but yeah, shout out to the Texans and making the playoffs. I don't know if they're gonna win or nothing like that, but you know, we'll see. Yeah, it'll definitely be a good game. Hey, Peasy, what's up, fam? What's good? What's good, man? What's good? Hey, man, definitely got to have you in the building. You say you're driving home way too. Then, hey, I appreciate you, fam. Look, I know it's late in the week. I know I'm late myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I had some like a personal emergency come up, you know, early in this week. But I definitely want to come through, put a video out. Like I said, I've seen, you know, other creators putting videos out, and I just want to get, you know, kind of get my thoughts out there. Because man, you know, especially now with being Friday, about to be the weekend. You know what I'm saying? Now is really the time to, you know, put on all your gear. You know, y'all see I got my white hoodie. They're talking about white out on Sunday. So make sure you guys rock your white. And not even just Sunday, y'all. Go ahead and put y'all white on now. You know what I'm saying? You know, just start, you know, kind of manifesting the feels, you know what I'm saying? Manifesting the vibes for, you know, playoff time and, you know, being able to hype our boys up, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure we're going to see, you know, some kind of yellow in there or whatever, green and yellow, but, you know, we just want to get, you know, hype our boys up, you know, it's playoff weekend, you know, home field advantage, you know, 2 potential home games for our boys. So we definitely got to get them all the kind of vibes, you know, no matter what, you know what I'm saying? And actually, yeah, this is actually my last, and actually I did have my last slide on here, y'all. So, you know, we almost out of here. But yeah, these are just some other key matchups. You know, I kind of talked about them, you know, throughout the show. But CD and Jair Alexander. Like I said, I did hear earlier today that he went down kind of weird. They say he went down kind of weird in practice. I think yesterday. So it's still yet to be seen if he's going to play. If he's going to play this weekend. But it's, you know, it's a playoff game, so I won't be surprised if we see him. Like I mentioned earlier, the linebackers versus Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle. I mentioned earlier, number 7, Quay Walker. Like he has no problem coming up to tackle. The same thing with Jonathan Owens, number 34. He doesn't mind coming up to tackle as well. Like in the Chiefs game, I seen them linebackers really getting in the backfield, and you know, and we know Chiefs don't have a great, you know, they have Pacheco and things like that, but they don't have, you know, they're not known, for their running backs. They're not known for their run game. But, they do have one, now in more recent years. But, I just see, Cowboys have a more, pronounced run game than the Chiefs. So I think, in my opinion, and I even heard it today, which kind of solidified it on Girls Talk, Boys Talk, that that we can actually use some kind of a we can actually use our TPs. Well, yeah, use TP or use our running backs to our advantage. Out of the backfield. You know what I'm saying that the linebackers can get in the backfield, but I have like I noticed with like I mentioned earlier with the secondary, they make some mistakes. Linebackers they can get got, which I noticed with, like I said, with some of the plays being made out of the backfield. I think I noticed this more. Let me see, look at my notes. I think I noticed this when they played the Lions, when I watched the Lions game back. Yeah, I think that we can use. I kind of wrote down that we can use a running back at the backfield, Pollard, for elusiveness, because 7 and 34 can tackle, but they can sometimes get confused, and even tight end use, because I've heard a lot this week that the middle of the field is open. So just being able to, we have playmakers, at a lot of these positions that we've mentioned, throughout the show today. As I mentioned with CD, number one playmaker on the team. TP, he's a playmaker at the running back position. Rico can get in there, and get some things done as well. You know what I mean? So, who else did I just mention? Ferguson. Him getting busy. With the we know he's like known for the seam route. We saw, in our home game against Washington. I think Dak. I think it was the start of the second half, and they were. Cowboys are throwing out their own end zone, and Dak hit Ferguson with the seam route up the middle, like it was nothing, throwing, I think, from inside either our own end zone or throwing from the 2-yard line. So, just knowing that route, it really is there for the taking, for saying against this team. Like I said, using the running back and even if we don't necessarily run them at the backfield, we can do those reverses that we've seen them use with CD Lamb. We can get Turpin involved. We saw Turpin, I think, have a 40-yard gain off of a reverse, I think, against the Patriots. So just seeing that we just have so many, I'm saying, like, not saying this game is going to be easy by any means, and not saying we could just easily do this against this defense. I'm just saying that with the amount of players that we have, and the different plays that we've seen leading up to the to the offseason, that we, like me and Star mentioned, you see some of these special plays or some of these packages, but you don't see them again. You know what I mean? Like granted, it was a mistake, but we haven't seen Lipke get the ball much, since then. And not saying it was because of a mistake, but maybe we could be saving that. That was something that we seen work. We seen Lipke get from one end of the field to the other. We just see him make a mistake at the 1-yard line, unfortunately. Or Dak, they pin the fumble on Dak. But like I said, we saw Lipke on that drive, get a 3rd and 1. We see him, I think also get a 4th down conversion on that drive as well. So it's not a matter of him being able to do it. It's just, of course, we just, he just can't make that mistake again. But, like I said, we see these packages throughout the year. We just don't see them again. It doesn't mean that they don't exist anymore. It could just mean that we're going to, hopefully, we know that they're practicing, they've been practicing inside this week. As we know, of course, to keep things hidden, we know McCarthy, don't play around, and we know he ain't playing around this week. So definitely good to see that. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, the playmakers we have on this team, really should just, like I said, if everyone does their job and everyone makes sure they follow through what they're supposed to be doing, make sure they help Dak out, as well, because he's gonna need that. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping it real. Like I think I heard Ferguson mention in one of his post game interviews. I think it was after the Lions game, where he mentioned that he had 2 drops that he wasn't proud of, and even he said that, like, he feels like it's his job to protect, protect Dak. And not saying he has to protect him like it's his job, but he has to make sure he catches those balls, because we saw last year, like, receivers dropping passes, or Dak having interceptions off drop passes or tipped balls and things like that. And as we see, that kind of falls back on Dak. Not saying it does, but the way the media reacts, they automatically blame Dak. So I think Ferguson just has taken that into account and saying, and hopefully the other guys too as well. And we've seen the guys step up for Dak, no question about that. So. And that's not even a question going into the game. It's just the point I'm trying to make is that, these guys recognize that their mistakes could potentially, be put on Dak, especially the point in time in this game, with this being a playoff game, with the stakes being as high as they are. We know that Dak and McCarthy, of course, as well, but Dak is going to catch a lot of flack for what, and he may not get the credit for what goes right, but we know that he may get the blame if things go wrong. You know what I mean? So they know, the receivers are aware of this. Ferguson has spoken. He's aware of this, that it's part of their job as well to protect Dak, to make sure that they complete those passes, that they do what they're supposed to do. That way there are no turnovers. That way there are no mistakes. There aren't those mental lapses that could cause an unfortunate change in the game. They just got to go out there and do what they're supposed to do, and things should flow well. Yeah, Stephen White, yeah, the majestic beast, yeah, 40 ounce, yeah, man. If we get him involved, it's like Big Game James said, like we should definitely not leave him out. Like he can definitely be, like, not saying he's like what's his name on the 49ers? I think it's Juszczyk. I think it's Juszczyk over there, the fullback that they have over there. Not saying Lipke is Juszczyk, but I'm saying that, and just like names like Juszczyk or even Taysom Hill, like not saying he has those abilities just yet, but just having another guy on the field that could be going in that direction, like another guy that we could be using in different packages that you're not gonna, you're not sure if he's gonna get the ball or not. You're not sure of, because he makes great blocks. I'm saying he can make great plays that we've seen on that drive against Miami, but it's just a matter of getting these guys prepared for it, and we know they can do it. It's just a matter of whether or not they're ready for that moment. So, and not just Licky, not just the young guys, but I mean the veterans as well. Because veterans can make mistakes. I'm saying anybody can make a mistake at any given moment. So, that's why I kind of made the point at the beginning of the show that it's really about the mentality with these guys at this moment. And everyone knows that, what I'm saying? I ain't saying nothing new. I'm saying? I ain't saying nothing that these guys don't already know. What I'm saying? But it's just the fact that these guys, now know that, it's the point in the time of the season where, yeah, that's, it's time to put up or shut up. All that talking, is done and out the door. And now it's about, who can really step up in the moment. And just these last two matchups, like I mentioned earlier, yes, Steele versus Rashawn Gary. Like I said, he has 9 sacks, the team leader. I'm saying and shout out to Steele, shout out to Terrence Steele. I think it came back. They came back saying that Steele had the most snaps, I think, of all the linemen. I think in the league. I don't know about the league and nothing like that, but he played pretty much 100% of the snaps. For the Cowboys. Of course, until he came out those last few snaps of the Washington game, but coming off of injury, leg injury, and just being, like, granted, he wasn't the most solid all year, but for him to be able to hang in there, I'm saying, and be able to stand in there to the end of the season, where we see a lot of these guys throughout the season really going through it as far as injuries or even just being nicked up. I'm saying, like, we know when these guys know how bad it can get. So just seeing that he can, was able to, play all these snaps, was really great for him. Hopefully, like I said, he's gone through some of these tough matches throughout the year. He can't help who you line up against. I'm saying, he's gone up against guys like Son Reddick. I'm saying, some of these other tough matchups that he's gone up against in these past few weeks. But like I said, now is the time to step up. Going up against, the lead sack, the guy who's the lead sack on the other side. Like I mentioned, him allowing pressures earlier in the season. We can't have that, especially in this moment. Like I said, it's about this moment and stepping up at the right time. And the final matchup, Deron Bland versus Christian Watson. I'm saying right now, I think they're saying right now Watson is still kind of questionable. I think they say, yeah, the last couple of weeks of the season, he wasn't playing, he was out for an injury. So, like I said, it's a playoff game. I'm sure, Jair Alexander or Watson, I'm sure it could be possible to see either one or even both of them. So, like I said, it's playoff football, so it's kind of hard to predict. But he's definitely huge. I'm saying, like, he's definitely can be a huge X factor as well for them, because we saw last year. He kind of turned up against us when he kind of started his hot streak, if you will. I'm saying, when we played them when we played them last year, excuse me. And we saw it kind of continued into this year, which is great for him. I'm saying, great for his team, but we definitely got to find a way to shut him down, because he's one of those players who does have that connection. I'm saying they have multiple wide receivers over there who can step up and get the job done, but we see Watson as one of the main ones who one of his main targets. So he's definitely one of the guys that we have to just keep an eye on and make sure he doesn't get too open, because he can make huge plays on us. Yeah, Nisi says if Gallup drops one, he shouldn't get the ball anymore. Yeah, I kind of feel you on that, Nisi. Like, not hating on Gallup or nothing like that, but, and I'm saying, sometimes seeing Gallup get the ball every now and then can be a little bit. I don't want to say discouraging, because I still like Gallup. He's still, he had the contract, he on the team. I'm saying so, and I'm not going to disrespect him and saying he shouldn't get this get that, because he got paid. He's on the team. You know what I'm saying? His snaps have gone down, but he should still look to contribute as well. You feel me? Like no guy should be like well, I'm only going to get this. I'm only going to get this. These few snaps or anything like that. Like all these guys should come in. Expecting the ball every snap of the play, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So they can always be ready. You don't want guys to be, start checking out or start thinking that, okay, I'm not gonna get the ball, and that's when they, you never know, but that's when they may start mentally checking out, or not putting forth as much effort, and you don't want to see that, especially in the playoff game. So you definitely you want to see all hands on deck, all guys getting involved, and just and I think we're gonna see that with this team. Just kind of giving my closing thoughts. Like I think these guys are really going to put it together, you know what I'm saying? And this isn't the final moment, I think these guys, feel the same way too. It's not the final moment of the season. It's just, the first stepping stone that's going to, hopefully give them, even more foundation laid, to, continue, their powerful stride into the postseason. So they have things lined up for them. We have Jimmy Johnson going into the ring, during the Lions game. So, and we saw things kind of fall into place, since then, you know what I'm saying? So it's, it's like McCarthy said, in the beginning of the season, and now here it is at the end of the season. Carpe Omnia, sees everything. Like now is the moment to take everything that you think is yours. Take everything, leave nothing. Leave like I mentioned earlier, leave no stone unturned. Leave no points on the field. Leave no turnovers on the field. You know what I mean? Make sure that make sure you guys get in there, and make sure the tackling is sound. I'm saying it's gonna be huge in this game. I'm saying AJ Dillon is not easy to bring down. Aaron Jones is not easy to bring down. These guys are these guys get get well and open for these big plays downfield. So it's not gonna be easy by any means. But of course, we know that the brotherhood that this team has built, in the locker room, as really has a strong influence of what they do. Excuse me, I'm sorry, amongst each other, and just how they're able to execute for for the games these past few weeks. And I think it'll continue going forward. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily have a score prediction or anything like that. I don't really do score predictions, but I do think we're going to win. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's going to be easy, nothing like that. But I do think if they come out strong, come out aggressive, as we've seen against Washington, when they come out, not necessarily have to come out throwing, but I definitely want to see them, coming out not being afraid to throw. You know what I'm saying? Like, as I mentioned earlier with the defense, I'm saying, they can make mistakes. They get penalties too. You know what I'm saying? We can use that against them. I just really think we have a good chance to really, show you, like I said, we may be a young team too, but a lot of these young guys have had the reps early in the season, and it just kind of really got this whole team, ready, really for the right moment. I'm saying, like, this last game has gotten a lot of playmakers involved, like Brandon Aubrey, Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle. I'm saying Ferguson, got involved. We've seen our wide receivers. We've seen Turpin in the backfield again. I believe this last game we've seen. So just like these guys, kind of, everybody kind of getting up for the next week. You know what I'm saying? So getting ramped up, if you will. So that's pretty much my whole point, y'all. Like I think it's going to be a great weekend. Playoff football starts tomorrow. Our games, Sunday afternoon, game of the week as usual. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's gonna be a great game, and I definitely can't wait. I can't wait for all these games, honestly. It's football coming to a close. Unfortunately, I'm saying it came to a close for some teams last week. Shout out to everybody for a great season. Shout out to all the teams, in postseason, and hopefully, we'll see a great, weekend of football as hopefully for the next month or so. Hopefully we'll see our boys a month from now. You know what I'm saying? For not to mention my birthday. You know what I'm saying? For the 10th of February, hint, hint. But also hopefully, for the 11th of February, for the 12th, you know what I'm saying, for that SB, you know what I'm saying, Dak said he's been kind of, they said they visited a mentalist early in the season. So now it's just, Dak hasn't really put it in the forefront, but, he's just trying to get prepared, for LV. He said, he said he bought an LV purse for his girl, you know what I'm saying? Or, just trying to keep those, those initials. He said LV is now in the Super Bowl title for this year, I think. So we just trying to get mentally prepared. We saw early in the season, Parsons talking about, he's, every night before he goes to sleep, he said Super Bowl, or he dreams about Super Bowl, things like that. So yeah, now's the time. You can't be afraid. Not saying you can't be afraid, to say it, but yeah, you got to believe. Like I think me and Star kind of talked about it. I think on one of our shows in this past few weeks. Like, it's just time. It's just time to believe now. It's time to believe that your team can do it. It's time to believe that you can go out there and make this play. It's time to believe that you can go out there and get a turnover. It's time to believe that you can go out there and get points. You know what I'm saying? It's time to believe that you can go out there and make a stop. You know what I'm saying? It's that time right now. So and I think I mentioned in Star that, I think I heard Jay Ron kind of say it in one of his press conferences, like, that could be the difference maker. I mean, you even heard Mike McCarthy say, I think a question was posed to him saying that how did you get the guys to this moment? How do you get to the end of the season? At first you didn't think he was gonna get the second seed. You didn't think he was gonna have this much success at the end of the season. How did you get here? And Mike McCarthy would just, up front, he was straight with it. He said, look, hope. I think he said hope, faith, and belief, like, and trust. I think he said, like, and those are all like, those things aren't tangible. You know what I'm saying? You can't go in there in the locker room and hand, your players hope. You can't, put in their hands faith. You know what I mean? Like these things are intangible. I'm saying these guys have to, like I mentioned before, they got to have the mindset to want this. They got to have the mindset to want to believe, to want to have faith, to want to trust their teammates. You know what I mean? So you just, as long story short, you can't make these players believe. These players got to believe themselves. So just seeing that they've, like I said, to be all on one accord, to be on one page, you know what I mean? To want the same goal is really important. People may not say that, that doesn't, yeah, that's, yeah, you can hope, you can believe, but it's how you execute. Well, it's not just physical on the field. It's also mental. You know what I'm saying? If you go out there and have even having a better mentality, then you can go out there and beat the Packers. You know what I'm saying? It's how you operate as a unit. It's how you operate, not just the defense, as I spoke about earlier, but also as the offense too. If the offense can go out there and operate as one, if the team can go out there and operate as one, if the coaches do their job, the players do their job. Hey, look, Jerry and Steven, y'all do your job too. Look, it's game day. Okay, y'all stay up there in the press box. All right, don't be calling down here. Don't be calling me up, Mike. What y'all gonna be doing this? What y'all gonna do that? Like, I don't want to hear nothing. Like, front office do their job up in the press box. Give us all, give us y'all belief. It's just time. The fans do their job. Show up to the game. If you're going to the game, like they said, show up in your white. Shout out to Patrick No C Walker. He said, something like, he said he saw someone tweeting, a fan tweeting like, well, I got a Navy jersey, and I'm gonna just wear the Navy jersey. Like, no, they said it's a white out. Go out to Walmart, get you a little $5, white T-shirt and wear your white. Like, if you got a white hoodie like me, put the white on, y'all. It's time to. Excuse me, y'all. I'm getting hyped up again, y'all. Like, it's time to pump up our boys and time to get ready for for playoff season. Playoff football is finally here, and it's time to get it going. Yeah, Nisha says, great show. Thank everybody for being in the building. Hey, AC in the building. What's up, new face? Before I get out of here, I don't mean to skip over your family. I ain't see it. What's up? They say, can Parson get a holding call Sunday? Yeah, hey, facts, man. Like, all these pictures you see, like, it's crazy. Like, I mean, everyone's been putting together memes and things like that. But just seeing all these pictures of Parsons being held by one to two players at least, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it's hopefully, I mean, we still need that to kind of, happen for us, a holding call, in our favor for Parsons. So hopefully, so hopefully these refs can come in here. I think I heard the crew that is officiating our match, they like to call, not that they like to call, but they do actually call holding calls on edges and things like that. So hopefully we'll see that, I'm saying? Like, hopefully things will, finally start turning around, fully in our favor, start getting, the proper calls that we're owed. Yeah, he said, yeah, right. Walmart is right across the street from the stadium. I'm sure they have all white jerseys. Yeah, exactly. I'm saying I think I seen a picture where they have the white, I think, seats, everything t-shirts on all the seats, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I ain't going to the game this weekend and all that, so I don't know. I mean, hopefully I'm able to make it, the playoff game, but I'm saying, I ain't really thinking about that right now. But yeah, like they said, if you're going to the game this weekend, just make sure you wear all white, y'all. Hype up your team, hype up our boys. It's playoff time and really trying to get to that 6th chip this year. You know what I'm saying? It's that time. We have the team. We got the coaches. I'm saying, like, I don't know if you guys seen Tyler Smith's interview, but like he said, it's one team a year. I'm saying you get this team one time. It's teams are different every year. So You never know what can happen the following year. So you got to, the boys got to get it right now. The time is definitely now. So that's pretty much my show, y'all. Like I said, thank you to everybody coming through. Just like I said, just staying with me while I get my thoughts out. I'm saying I really needed this. I'm starting to see why a lot of content creators say this is like kind of like their outlet. I'm saying kind of how like they relax and things like that, because it's starting to kind of become kind of like a like something like that to me. Like now, I take these notes like throughout the week, and there are times where I don't know how to like kind of kind of get it across, or how I just really just be kind of putting these things into slideshows, and I really just be wanting to get my thoughts out. Like I said, like I don't have any kind of rhyme and reason, for how I kind of do these things, but like I said, I have a very 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 young channel. You know what I'm saying? Just just getting started, just getting going. And like I said, I'm learning as I'm going. So, like I said, I appreciate everybody's time, everyone's presence, being here. Even East Side or East, like East Side, I respect you for being here, because you ain't got to be here, fam. So I really appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? So thank you to everybody in the building. And Stephen White, yeah, I got you. I got you. You rule. I appreciate it, Stephen White. Thank you so much, man. And thank you to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Just like I said, thank you to all my new subscribers. If you guys watching it back on the rewatch, make sure you guys hit the like button, the share button. Like Stephen White says, we got this. Yeah, it's our time. Like Big Game James said earlier. I watched this video, and that's really one of the things that got me hyped for today. Is the time, like you said, the time is now. Like it's time to shut all these naysayers up. You know what I'm saying? It's time to shut the media up. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Cowboys fan talk. He put out this fire ass tweet talking about some, the media, specifically, I think it's that show Speak, where they were saying that that Dak wasn't going to get All Pro. Well, we've seen the list today, so they're going to be walking back a lot of their arguments. You know what I mean? So it's just like I said, the time is now to really just prove, prove the naysayers wrong and prove your loyal fans right. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely hyped for this weekend. Like, hopefully I'll be able to get another video out to you guys. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully I can see about doing a collab, with someone. Shout out to Sports Junkie in the building. I don't know if you're free tomorrow, fam. I'm gonna hit you up. Hit me up if you're free tomorrow. I'm gonna see about doing a combo collab with somebody. I really want to do another video, like I said. Kind of busy with some things this past week. A couple emergencies popped up, but like I said, I really want to get my thoughts out. Again, if I can, if you might want to do a collab, hit me up. Like I said, I really just be chilling. But yeah, Cowboys by 20. Yeah, we gonna whip up on them boys. It's about that time. They may be young, they may be coming in, wanting to let loose and have nothing, have nothing to lose. But this is Cowboys time. So they're gonna show them how it's done. I'm saying this time around, the Cowboys is the one with the experience. You know what I mean? So it's time to show that. That's the main point I can make before getting out of here. Like it's time for the Cowboys to show that they have the experience and that they have the mentality and that they ready to do this. So yeah, like I said, just to end on that note, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the share button. I appreciate everybody coming through. Thank you guys so much for your time, especially how this week went for me. This is, like I said, this is really like, therapy like for me. So, thank you to everybody that came through. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Hope you guys enjoy this playoff weekend. I'm definitely going to try to enjoy as much as I can. And just quick note before I get out of here, make sure you guys tune in after the game Sunday. Me and Star are going to be back with a reaction show once again. That was really fun. I really love doing that. I love the like I said, I love the interaction me and her have, on shows, but not just on the show, but with all the fans coming through too. All the like I said, all the subscribers that came through last week during our show. Hopefully have another great turnout, this weekend coming up. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Hey, look, man, thank you for your time. I appreciate y'all. Check y'all next time. See you.